Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Double Critical. We are doing season 3 of Double Critical. It's the versus season. We're going to be counting down 3 different pairs of different characters of Star Wars Legion, having them battle it out to see who is going to show up first in Star Wars Legion. So it's a great opportunity to talk Star Wars Legion, talk tabletop games, and talk Star Wars characters in general. Joining me, as always, is Sean Abbott. Sean, how you doing?
Doing good, guys. Nice to be back again. Still,
Absolutely. And
got
today,
a record go now.
yeah, it's been a little break. We're not doing it like every week anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It is.
To get all this prettiness going is hard.
Yeah. Sometimes. Also, we have Jordan coming in. How you doing, Jordan? Jordan is from Queen City Gaming. Hey, hold on. Something's going on here.
You got all fuzzy. Yeah,
Jordan,
video's all fuzzy.
Jordan got a little fuzzy. Oh, that's
there.
better.
We go.
All right, there we go. So, all right. Well, all right. Well, magic is fixed.
Force, sir. The force.
Did I just say the magic is fixed?
You did. Come on.
Here, I'm just take my Star Wars card. Take my Star Wars card. Here, it's a Nebulon B. You can have it. Yeah, I give it up.
We have a lot of those.
Yeah, I have a couple of these. You know what? I'm gonna put one up and we'll do a giveaway for a Nebulon B. I'm gonna put it up in Discord. So there you go. All right, there you go. So that's gonna show up like this weekend. So, extra free giveaway because I screwed up. Anyway, all right. So Jordan, thanks for now that was a complete curveball. Thanks for joining us. Tell us a little bit about what you do. Tell us a little bit about Queen City Gaming and what that's all about for people who are not familiar.
Yeah, guys. So my name's Jordan. I'm also known as Vanguard J Online. I'm a Vanguard for a game called Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings by Parabellum Wargamings.
Beautiful.
I started Queen City Gaming about 2 years ago. We've done some Legion content, some Age of Sigmar content, some Conquest content, and we're actually going to be diving into Blood Bowl and Dungeon Bowl soon.
Oh.
So super excited for those, and hopefully I can get some battle reports posted back soon. My kind of counterpart, he's actually in law school, so it's been a little hard to get games in, but he graduates soon, so we're hoping to get regular content started back.
All right, and where can people find your content? It's is it all on YouTube?
Mm-hmm. Everything's on YouTube right now. I just got a brand new live stream set up and finally figured out how to use it.
Oh, that is
Nice.
that is a
I'll
thing.
be doing some live streams pretty soon too.
I look back at some of my first live streams, and like when I first started out, it's amazing the learning curve that comes with time, and like I look back at some of my earlier videos, and it's kind of laughable, and it's nice to see things have come. I mean, and I haven't come that far, but I've come a little bit farther. At least I have double criticals flying all over the place now.
Yeah. I gave my YouTube thing a shot. That's a lot of work, man. I give you credit, guys, for keeping up, because like I did my few paint videos. Like, man, I'm just editing just as much on the video as I am painting.
Well, the key is that you don't edit. Like Jordan's whole video thing, like that's staying in. That's staying in, guys, because this is that's what happens with open format.
What's that mean?
Joke.
Like, F it, we're doing it live.
Especially these 2.5-hour battle reports.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
There were some battle reports I've done for Legion where I've actually edited them. I've done a few for Armada too, where I've actually edited them out and cut out all the parts, and it takes so long. I think one took me a whole week of editing for a 3-hour battle report to try and condense it down into like 45 minutes or whatever. And it's just it's too much, and so that's kind of why I gravitated towards the kind of play-by-play type of battle report, and that it's easier there's less editing involved, although there is some, but it also kind of keeps the highlights. I know some people like they want to see every single die roll, every single movement, and I'm not, it's not my.
I would say there's benefits, like when you can actually see like how things like move across the board. It kind of gives you an idea of like, hey, this is the idea of like how the battle flows, like the ebb and flow of like, oh, this got pushed back, this goes forward. It does look nice, but again, being that I've been in all those most of those battle reports.
Yeah, you've been in quite a few.
Those like long ones is like, oh man, it's like at 3 hours and we're trying to record, and I hit something on the table and knock the camera over.
Oh my! So that went into some of my bloopers too, about where like the camera is up there and it just goes.
It's me.
Yeah,
it's almost always me.
Sometimes it's been me too. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna open the battles, and our first battle is gonna be against two pretty significant people from the Clone Wars era, and the real question that we're asking, and for you guys watching at home, is who is gonna make it into Star Wars Legion first. So it's not like if they could beat each other. But we can also talk about that too. The opening conquest is it's not an opening conquest. You said conquest earlier. You put that word in my head, and
it's
now
a great word.
It is. Yeah, it's a great word. So the opening conquest is Conquest Conquitine versus Conquang Jin. No, see, my words are all messed up. Qui Gon Jinn versus Sheev Palpatine. Now, I know some of you guys looking at this and like, wait, this guy is already in the game. Palpatine is already in the game.
That is a good point.
Here's what specifically this matchup is for Clone Wars era Palpatine. Whether he be Chancellor Palpatine, the Republic Supreme Chancellor, or whether he be Darth Sidious, the Separatist leader. Or if because they have done a two-faced version of him in games like X-Wing. And I think they even had him in Destiny and stuff like that, where they kind of have a flip-flop mechanism and stuff like that. So I'm talking about that version. I'm talking about Clone Wars era Palpatine versus where you actually see him use lightsabers, because again, he doesn't use a lightsaber for the Empire, versus Qui-Gon Jinn.
In Clone Wars, Darth Sidious was kind of a badass during the Mandalore arc, where he killed Savage Opress, put a beat down.
Spoilers! I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. That one's old at this point. As long as they don't put his real name on the card, I'm happy, because no one should have ever named him Sheev. It's a horrible name. Not intimidating at all.
Some people might not know that his first name is actually Sheev.
I know, and that it's better. They're better for them. Ignorance is bliss in this case.
But you've shattered that. What do you think, Jordan? Do you think Sheev is a good name or a bad name?
I could go either way with it. I kind of like just calling him Darth Sidious because it creates a clear separation between him and the Emperor for card printing and everything.
Right.
Yep. I like that too.
Trust me, from running a Star Wars Legion league with all brand new players, things get confused super easy. So having the clear definitions between the two would probably help out a lot.
Well, that's an interesting point too, because if they were to do him, would he still be the same guy? Because he is the same person, and in other instances of the same person, they can use the same command cards. But if he's strong, it might be really tough to give him some of the Emperor's command cards. And since the Emperor's name is the Emperor, it's not, his name isn't Sheev Palpatine, right? Or his name isn't even just
Darth Sidious,
right? So it really is. It's an interesting question on how they would do him if they wanted him to be able to have the same command card access, or if they would maybe errata some of the command cards to be like Emperor Palpatine or Chancellor Palpatine.
That'd probably be your best bet, because in terms of if he's going to be a separate. I guess, could he work for the Republic? I mean,
he could be a merc that could go in multiple different.
So
factions.
Weird now to think about it. Yeah. But it's some of his command cards, like entire Legion, doesn't really translate well to the Separatists because they have all their little stupid. I just experienced this for the
AI,
first time.
right?
The AI, chaining the tokens to each thing. So the entire Legion's not going to be that benefit. The Death Blossom's always good, but I think Palpatine, the Emperor Palpatine, kind of focuses more on his withered status, I guess, whereas Sheev is, or Darth Sidious. I'm going Darth Sidious. Darth Sidious is more of a agile guy, and you got some cool command card lines like, "I am the Senate. This is so it's treason." Then you got some good lines in there.
Those are good lines. Those are really good lines. Yeah.
Crazy laughter as he jumps thing.
I think one of the best scenes we get from the Senate, right, is his fight against Maul and Savage Opress.
Yeah.
And then another great fight is him against 3 Jedi. So I think if he does show up, he would be the Jedi killer, and I think he would have probably Makashi mastery. He could ease. I don't know if he uses that, but he could have something like that. Because that's Dooku's thing, and I feel like you take it away from Dooku a little bit. So maybe he has a command card that gives him that. This way he doesn't or a command card that allows him to ignore immune to pierce. So while Dooku can do it all the time, he gets to do it one time, but maybe it's a bigger,
I can see that.
Yeah.
Or this, kind of like a surprise attack thing, because no one's expecting him to be Darth Sidious.
Right. Oh yeah. Maybe he starts out with incognito.
Oh,
so
that's good.
Yeah.
I like that. that.
Now, I had another crazy idea taken from a different game for him.
Okay.
So there's a game called A Song of Ice and Fire, which is the Game of Thrones series.
Yeah.
They have characters that actually aren't even on the table, and they provide buffs in the game.
Mm.
So it could be Senator Palpatine, to where he's off the table with the Senate, but he still has command cards you can play that give out buffs to your clone army.
Oh wow, that's an interesting thing. Is there a way to get this? I have not played. That's the game by Simon, and and it's actually a pretty big game for a game that launched on Kickstarter. But it's weird the idea of having a miniature that's not going to go on the table. Like I wonder if it would if like is it off table, but it has the possibility of getting pulled onto the table.
I could see like it would be cool to have a double roll like that.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Or maybe he can evacuate. Like maybe there's a safe zone. Like he starts off on the battlefield, but he can evacuate at the end of a certain turn. So like you have a window of opportunity to assassinate him, but you got to move quickly. You know.
And then he wouldn't count for points if it went to a tiebreaker.
Right, because he would have a special case status where he goes to a safe zone. You know, and maybe you even introduce a new meta where you can call people out from a safe zone, and maybe people like Cad Bane can do kidnappings and stuff like that, and Grievous can pull people out. It would be a dual way to put Amidala out there, because like that, as good as she is in the game, I always hated that she's always. You're supposed to be a senator. You're not supposed to be on all these battlefields. Why are you in like every single war? Like,
she's like a ninja, man.
Yeah.
And also, that's a great idea, because with Ascent, you also get those blue Royal Guard guys that have cool Praetorian helmets, kind of like escort him.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
My fear with them is that they may end up being too much like Royal Guard and Magna Guards, and then you just kind of have us like, hey, every faction has a guard except for the rebels. You know?
Yeah.
So on the other side of the table, we've got
Qui-Gon
Jinn, and I love Qui-Gon Jinn. As a matter of fact, he made Episode 1, the first 25 minutes of Episode 1, into like one of the greatest Star Wars movies of all time. I mean, like honestly,
his voice is just melodic.
He's fantastic. I mean, his way of guiding Obi-Wan was just like, he was the perfect Jedi. And as a kid who'd read a good amount of books,
he wasn't like the best. I mean, the perfect Jedi in what sense? Because technically, he was at odds with like every Jedi Master at some point. Like no one. I don't say no one disliked him, but they're like, "Oh man, it's Qui-Gon Jinn. He's going to do something weird again."
Yeah. Well, I mean, but in the movie, he was great. Like when you first saw him, he was preaching wisdom, he was preaching patience, and he was preaching all this stuff. But then he was also like the first one to do a lot of those things that we'd read about in the books. A lot of he was the first time you saw force push or force speed. He had done that, or and Qui-Gon was let's face it, Qui-Gon did a lot of Jedi mind tricks. He was even better at the mind trick than Obi-Wan. He's probably better at that than anybody else in the Jedi as far as mind tricks go. And if you go watch Phantom Menace again, like watch Qui-Gon's hands. And he does it so low key. He knows exactly how far to push it. You know, when he's talking to the Gungans, he's got his hand down and he's like kind of waving it just gently enough, not to make the boss like do something crazy, but just to make the boss kind of shift just a little bit. Like, oh, I'm going to speed you guys away. And some of the guards are like, oh, boss is being a little bit gentle today, because boss usually executes people who come in here. And he's like, hey, I'm going to send you away. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, we would need a speeder. Yeah, we're going to give you a speeder so you get out of here fast. And like it fits. It's like a role-playing game. And like you were going to fail, but you narrated it so well, I allow it to pass. So I think Qui-Gon is a super awesome guy. But some people might say, and I'll open up the floor to you guys here, some people might say he didn't actually fight during the Clone Wars.
Oh.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Good point.
Yeah. Because he technically got killed by Darth Maul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think, but the fact that you have Darth Maul there means if Darth Maul from his Episode 1 is in the game, then Qui-Gon is absolutely open for it, because I think
how often were the droidicas in Clone Wars and the Revenge of the Sith?
They were in during the Clone Wars when they were doing like the droid poppers episode, showing how to roll the grenades underneath the shield, and yeah. But I think it's about recognizability. Sometimes with it's not just who's the coolest character. You need to put product on the shelf that people are going to recognize and say, oh, I remember him. I want to try this game.
And Liam Neeson is very recognizable.
Now, what if he came out in a detachment with Gungans?
Oh man, I would love.
He's making Tim's dream right there.
Yeah. So Gungans, I absolutely want Gungans. I actually have them, I think, set up for a different episode of Double Critical. But yeah. So if he were to come out alongside them or in the same wave, at least, I think it makes a lot more sense. He could certainly go into a battle force of Gungans. Since he was a friend of theirs, it would make sense. Him and Obi-Wan, they might have to do like a Padawan Obi-Wan.
Yeah, Padawan, or like maybe a Nabooian Nabooian type of battle force with Gungans, the Naboo Guard, things like that.
Absolutely.
With their stupid hats.
Stupid hats.
Sorry, Star Wars has, Star Wars has a lot of stupid hats. I don't like the Fleet Troopers hats. Naboo hats.
The Death Star gunner hats are also really bad.
Those look just alien to me, so they kind of get a pass just because they're like, that's just weird, but it's not like...
Isn't it the same as the Fleet Trooper hat?
Yeah, but like you got the cool bottom parts. It's kind of like a bird. I don't know.
It's like the Spaceball hats, just the really big
yes.
ones. Yeah.
It's like,
So Qui-Gon, I think he totally works. He's he's there for the first battle that really starts the Clone Wars, and I think the Battle of Naboo, you have to count that because all of your B-1 droids and their formations are inspired by that battle. The Staps are inspired by that battle. The AAT, almost everything that the Separatists have is inspired by the Battle of Naboo.
Yeah, represented by that. Yeah,
and,
first movie.
Including Darth Maul in that version of Darth Maul. So I think it goes without saying that you have to include Qui-Gon Jinn.
And like in terms of like who would come out first, because I mean that's what these are about.
Right.
I do think Qui-Gon will come out first because recognizability. We do already have a Palpatine character, like you said before, and that's
okay.
Recognizability. So that's I would put Qui-Gon over Palpatine in this verse, or Darth Sidious, whoever we're going to call him in this. What do you think? What do you think, Jordan?
I don't know. I've got to go with Darth Sidious, mainly because I'm a huge droid player, and I would love to see him on the table.
Okay.
Because, you have a ton of Jedi that can come out for the actual clone faction, but you do have limited lightsaber users for, CIS. So I'm going to go with Darth Sidious on this one.
So I'm siding with Jordan. You stole one of my talking points in that there's a lot of other Jedi to get to. I don't think Qui-Gon will be the last Jedi that they do. I think but I do think that there's a couple other ones that you do before Qui-Gon, and
that's fair. Okay.
And now we do have a couple other lightsaber users for Separatists, but not that many. I think when you do Savage Opress and stuff like that,
Asajj Ventress.
Yeah, I think when you do some of those people,
I think that's it though. That's the two, right?
Not really. There's some spies. There's some bad people too. And those are going to be other episodes of Double Critical, like traitors, people who betrayed the Jedi, Barriss, and stuff like that, right?
Oh, Barriss wasn't part of the CIS though.
No, but she could be part. You could make her a merc that could work with the Separatists. You could also you could do Quinlan Voss. He kind of
Voss would be so cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Or what about the Basilisk guy?
Basilisk.
Basilisk.
You mean Darth Maul's brother?
No. This was the guy who it was in the first season.
It was in the Shadow of Utapau.
Pong Krell.
Pong Krell.
He had the two double-bladed lightsabers. And,
yeah.
He was a straight-up traitor.
Jerk. Yeah.
And so so there are a couple of others, but he's one of the biggest names, and I think you get him first, even though he's a double, because the double precedent hasn't really been too locked in because we already have two Lukes and two Vaders.
Two Vaders, yeah.
So it's but I think Qui-Gon is going to be probably within the next 4 Jedi that we get for the separate or for the Republic.
Okay.
All right. So we got 1 vote for Qui-Gon and 2 votes for Sidious. You guys watching at home, let us know down in the comments which one you choose out of these two. All right. We're gonna move on to the second pairing, and this one is kind of a cross-era version. So on one hand, we've got Mother Talzin of the Night Sisters and Dathomir, and on the other hand, we've got Krrsantan, otherwise known as Black Krrsantan, depending on if you've seen him first in the comics or the live-action Disney Plus series Book of Boba Fett. But
very asymmetric choices in this one.
Very much. They're very different. So sometimes they line up very much perfectly. Sometimes they're completely out there. But I think there's different reasons for each of these, and I think it leads to a very interesting discussion. So yeah.
So in terms of this, because it's tough. I think I'm going to say I'm actually going right for the gun. Like who I think will come out first is I think Talzin will come out first. Mainly because Krrsantan is a recent, he's a recent addition to public image in terms of TV and all that. Whereas Talzin would be a cool battle force with Night Sisters. So that's something they could have planned ahead of time, back in the day. Where Krrsantan, they might just have started working on, have to go through all the legal stuff that they had to go through Lucasfilm and Disney and all that kind of thing. So in terms of marketing and publishing, I think Talzin but I think it has to be predicated with a battle force of Night Sisters. It has to have the bow lady, the bow girls, the laser the bows. You got the energy bows and those cool staffs and all that.
So there
maybe some zombies.
There definitely are a lot of a lot of Night Sister options, a lot of Dathomir options, because it's not. I don't think all of their force would be only Night Sisters. I think there's a lot of things that could go.
You got
in that battle force.
The Zabra,
Asajj Ventress. I think you could put Maul in that thing, and Savage Opress.
Yep.
I think you put Night Brothers in there too.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
And then the Night Sisters, you have the Archers, and don't they have a melee variant?
I think they had one with like a double blade user.
Yeah. So you clearly have a lot.
And the zombies, come on, you have zombies too.
And you absolutely have zombies. So you have a lot of options there. Now, I think if you were to do Mother Talzin in a force, I don't think you get all of those in the same box, though, right?
You get Talzin.
What do you
think,
2
units?
Jordan?
2 units. Oh, yeah, Jordan, you go for
it. Yeah, if I was going to design a battle force for her, I would kind of view it as like a mini starter set. So something kind of like our core sets we have now. So it would probably be Mother Talzin, and probably 1 unit of the Bow Sisters, 1 unit of the Sword Sisters, and then maybe like Asajj Ventress. Okay. So then you could have a good little skirmish force, and you could have 2 commanders to switch between the 2.
Okay.
Nice. I like it.
I think you're pretty close to on the money. Didn't they have Rancors on Dathomir? Also?
They do, and they mentioned it in the Boba Fett book of Boba Fett, but I don't.
It's a possibility.
As much as I would love it, I don't think we're going to see Rancors for still a little bit.
Well, it could work with that. It's certainly an option, and it doesn't have to come out. It doesn't have to come out with it. Yeah, again, not heavies don't have to come in a starter, but it's nice to plan them in that wave, especially if you want a. And I guess it's going to depend on how many battle forces they ultimately end up doing, and how, like if there ends up being a new battle force every 6 months or whatever, then I don't think we'll get that much depth with them. But if there ends up being like only one new one each year, then they can get kind of deep with them and expand, and maybe they do a Rancor that can work in like 1 or 2 factions and stuff. And as they say, hey, this guy can work in this one, and this one, then it gives more incentive and it makes more people want to buy something. So when you have like a Rancor or a big box, you get more customers.
Especially if you do like multiple command card or multiple cards in the same box, you could do an optional frame for Boba Fett to ride on top of it. And, going along the Marvel Crisis Protocol lines, you could do like a scenario pack with it to where like the Rancor is ravaging the city and you bring a small force to take out the Rancor.
Absolutely.
That'd be cool.
I think a lot of people have been talking about like neutral units for a long time, and I've wanted a Rancor forever. So
I think we did one double critical way back in the day where we talked about creatures and all that. And like that was our thing. It's like, hey man, you have Wampas on the ice field that could do stuff. You have the Dianogas. Yes. I mean, Imperial Assault had a whole scenario about absolutely.
They had the whole board with in the trash compactor. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's a lot of talk about Mother Talzin, but we've also got so I got an interesting tidbit I want to open things up with for Krrsantan, aka Black Krrsantan. Now they don't refer to him as Black Krrsantan in Book of Boba Fett. They just refer to him as Krrsantan. I assume that. Even though Disney came up with the name, they're just like, let's just call him Krrsantan, so
that's fair.
I'm not terribly surprised, but it is a little surprising that like what you guys came up with that. It's not like it was like an old thing from the 70s that you're like, hey, this didn't age well. Like you just came up with it like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Doc Afra's relativly new comic series, isn't it? I mean, I'm out of date.
I want to say 2016-ish when he came out, but yeah, so it's not that old. But either way, it makes sense to it. He doesn't flow off the tongue to say that many syllables. And heck, even even in the show, they didn't always refer to him as Krrsantan. They used like shorter names than that, even like Santo or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do spoilers.
But when he said that, I'm like, who the hell is he talking about?
I thought he said Santa is what I was, and so I really think that we really need a Life Day or holiday special that has Krrsantan in a Santa hat. at some point.
I'm down. I'm down for it.
But the reason I wanted to open up with this guy is because he has been in the comics. He has been around for a while. He's starting to make his way into culture, into new media before people knew that he was going to be in the Book of Boba Fett. And what I mean by that is Hasbro just released, and I should have had an image for this queued up, and I just didn't plan it out. But I want you guys to go Google the Star Wars Black Series Black Krrsantan figure. And they just spoiled this just like maybe a couple of days ago. It is the most awful looking figure I have ever seen.
Oh, is this the one that they just redid? Like they just redid the Chewbacca.
All they did was take Chewbacca, paint him black, and they give him a bowcaster, and they put a tan beige kind of harness on him with zero paint on it. Now, granted, this isn't an action figure broadcast, but I used to collect Star Wars Black Series, so I'm still piped into that stuff because I think they're really cool. But they've done really great things with the Star Wars Black Series line. Like, they're really high-quality figures now. And to see one that looks like it was just phoned in for this character, that is awesome. And he's so skinny. He looks like an emaciated Krrsantan. And so the reason I bring that up is that he's been on publishers, on manufacturing, on their list of characters to publish for a while already, so he could potentially show up sooner. But his appearance in this show has probably really increased that demand. That's my thought. I'll turn it over to you guys.
So my big thing too is they just announced we're having huge changes to bounty hunters, and he is a bounty hunter, so I could possibly see him before Mother Talzin just off of that fact alone. He's also dual faction. He could be Empire and Rebels.
Yeah. He could potentially work for any faction, but I don't think you see him in the Clone Wars era timeline.
What if you can't have him and Bosk in the same thing? Like there's like a limiter.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Yeah, you that could be a very good thing. Like, or if you do, then you have to play like a flaw card. Like if there's a Trandoshan on his same side, the opponent can play this at any time and it attacks.
Yeah, like if you're in range 1, they take a shot at him or something.
Flaw cards are such an interesting thing. Like, I'm really glad they came out with those because it gives you some really interesting, flexible ideas to be able to do with stuff. But you don't want to overdo it because then all of a sudden you come up with everybody having flaw cards and you just have way too many cards in your hand. But I think basically he looks like Chewbacca's already a beast. We used Wookiees in our most recent battle report, and I think with the rise of Wookiees as being almost the first sub-faction, because we got so many Wookiees in that wave, that just recently came out. I think the world is ready for more Wookiees, and I think we're ready for a specific Wookiee battle force, and he would make a great addition into that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And how about that weapon he's got in the show?
Giant gun.
Oh, he would be a great range 4 shooter.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I could see it even having 2 modes. Like it could shoot range 3 or range 4, and maybe even more dice at range 3, or give it a range 1 buckshot mode.
Yeah, he was shooting up close. I mean, he was like bam. I was like, oh dang.
Yeah. It was. It looked like it was a really strong gun, and it was one of those things that looked. When they first showed him, because his first appearance was far enough back, I don't mind talking about it, but just seeing him, if I had never seen him again, I would still be really, really impressed, because his appearance, the actor who portrayed him had the body language and the eyes in this character just completely made him. So
you guys are making some good points, and the fact that he is much more visually. I mean, Mother Talzin's cool with her pointy shoulders, but she's no
family friendly, Sean. I know.
I did. I kept it there. She does have.
And then from a rules perspective, for me, he is going to be much more easier to balance and add into existing forces than Mother Talzin will be.
Oh, that's a good point, Jordan.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. As much as I like Mother Talzin, the amount of magic she does could easily run away from somebody trying to create her for this game and balance her for the game. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I love the fact that she is a force user who's not using a lightsaber, and we don't have many of those. We have Palpatine, and that's it. and so to have so she opens so many creative doorways, that I really look for. I probably want her more than I want Krrsantan right now, because she would be, for gameplay, what she could become. But at the same time, since AMG is still new to doing Star Wars Legion stuff, I think maybe they might want to pump the brakes on somebody as complicated as her right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think this is the promise of Asajj Ventress. I still think Talzin, because I think the promise of Asajj Ventress and Night Sisters kind of goes over the Krrsantan. Again, you guys made some really good points for Krrsantan, though.
So Sean, you're casting your vote for Talzin.
I'm still casting my vote for Talzin.
All right. What do you think, Jordan?
I gotta go for Krrsantan. Just out of sheer balance things with AMG right now.
That makes a lot of sense. I am going to cast my vote. This time I'm siding with Sean. I'm going for Talzin. I think she'll be the first one. And the thing that really tips it for me is that they kind of already mentioned Dathomir and Night Sisters in some of their recent interviews. Not to confirm it, but just saying, talking off the cuff, and we'd love to do things, there's so many good things that we want to add, and it'd be so cool to do these things. Now that doesn't mean that it's in production. It doesn't mean it's in development. I think that just means it's on the very, very, very large whiteboard of all the cool things they'd like to do. And I'm sure this guy's on there too.
Wait, it should be like one of those holo boards from Hoth, with the green lines, and looks like you played Pawn on it all day.
Exactly. That's really what should have to happen at AMG headquarters. They should have to wear the big headsets, and they should be freezing, and they should be like, "Sir, we've detected Imperial walkers. Imperial troops have entered the base." Yeah.
Where is AMG? Are they? Because I know it was FFG was in Minnesota.
AMG's in Seattle.
Oh, it's gonna be cold there. It rains all the time. I've been to Seattle.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we've got two for Talzin, one for Krrsantan. I want you guys to let us know what you think down in the comments section, and we're gonna move to our third and final battle of the evening. This one's a little different.
Yeah.
This is not an individual named characters, but these are two groups of henchmen. So again, we started off kind of similar, then went off really far apart.
Don't call Jawa henchmen. They are individual monsters.
Individual scavengers. So we've got the Bespin Wing Guard, or the Bespin troops, or the Bespin security, but their proper term for them, I believe, is Wing Guard, versus Jawas, which, they're everywhere.
Which according to, I forgot her name, but they're very furry.
Oh, Pelimato. Yes.
Pelimato, thank you.
She did say that.
Very furry.
So it's
gonna stick with me for my life now that I know that.
In episode 4, if you go to the cantina scene, there was a little furry guy who grabbed a drink, who looked a little bit like a chipmunk alien or whatever. And I wonder if he was.
You're not thinking of the Bat People, are you?
I don't know. I thought I was thinking of a Jawa without his costume on. But, I don't think we've ever seen one of them without his costume on. But what if that was him all along? I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and go. You know what I need to do is I wish I still had all my Decipher Star Wars CCG cards.
I think you're thinking of a Shadrafan.
It might have been a Chadrafan.
Yeah, you're thinking of a Shadrafan.
It might have been.
Pretty sure.
But since that's not the subject, I'm gonna gravitate back towards Jawas. But either way, Jawas versus Wingguard. This is an interesting one because I think, with battle forces, they're both viable. And they both represent, characters that can go into potentially lots of different factions, but aren't named characters. So they could be a new core option for a lot of different armies. And since we've got armies that need more core options, we thought we were going to be getting new core every year, and that kind of went away. So
I think. I'm thinking Jawa. So with I want to say new meta. I don't know much about the meta, but I know droids are a big thing. Jawas are. They have tons of ion shotguns, ion things like that. They'd be very cool to put into the gameplay now as a counter CI, not entirely a hard counter, but a good option for a force to use against CIS forces. You have all their scavenging stuff. They can do repair, they can do ionize, and they're super, super iconic. As the Wing Guard are cool. Episode 5 is one of the best, Star Wars movies. Jawas are just universally recognized. And you can even have command cards for them. Give Utini. You have so much for Jawas that they're just recognizable. They got iron weapons that can go well with the gameplay that's going on right now.
Yes, that's a good point.
like they're just and I love Jawas, man. They're just so cool. They now even I'm traumatized.
They are really cool. Yeah. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah. So with them, what I would think would be really cool is if they get you could when vehicles get destroyed, you could put down like a wreckage marker. So if the Jawas run up to them and grab the wreckage marker and have it at the end of the game, it could be an extra victory point, kind of like secret mission or bounty.
So that is wicked.
That would be really
like
cool,
that.
And it's almost like how do you make that work, right? And I think one of the easiest ways to make something like that work, because it'd be hard to have a command card that does it, because and you don't want to make a whole new rule because you won't always have Jawas in the game,
and you might not, and your opponent might not always have vehicles either.
You might not always have vehicles. Well, I mean, it could be a new rule. It could be a Jawa specific. They could be Jawa trooper. Like clones have their own rules for the typer.
Yeah.
So that could be a thing that you do. But what if it was just a battlefield condition, or maybe it was an objective? Like maybe you had an objective called loot, or or loot tech, technology looting spree or something like that.
Yeah,
and maybe you could only take that objective if you had Jawas. We talked a little bit about battle forces that they may have. In addition to having unique command cards, they could potentially have new objective, condition, or deployment cards. That could be something that Jawas got.
Okay, hear me on this. So to make it, I guess, more fair, that way not everyone has to have Jawas. That you have that condition or objective, and that a trooper unit can use an action to pick this up. But for Jawas, it's a free action.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes, yeah, so that way everyone gets to play the game, but Jawas get to play it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Or what if you pull the salvage deck and they get to keep both options of the salvage deck?
Oh my gosh, that's a great idea.
So cool. Yeah, that's a good one too.
That's a really good idea. I think we had a really cool Jawa part of that as part of the that ambush team in Mando season 2, also.
Also with the Jawas, you get freaking sand. You can have a sand crawler on the map.
Yes.
Granted, it's huge. I think it's like AT.
I heard a theory recently that there's only one Jawa sand crawler and it just flies from planet to planet to planet, and that's why we see it everywhere. It's not a real. I think it was more of a joke thing, but yeah, they are everywhere. The sand crawlers are really cool, and if you do Jawas, does that open the door for a sand crawler in Legion? Or is that way too big?
I think it might be way too big, but it could be a cool, you can deploy Jawas from a certain a certain edge of the battlefield kind of thing. Like they don't have to deploy with your force kind of stuff.
Or what if they come out of a terrain piece?
Oh yeah, that could be cool. Yeah,
that could
be real cool.
That could. So the Bespin Wingguard, they're
poor guys.
They're usually known for just having those uniforms and being in the background, right?
Yeah, I know they were they had Imperial Assault had that whole expansion with them. And right. I think they did good in Imperial Assault in their multiplayer form, but the Jawa's gonna beat them recognizability, man. You can have a Bespin battle force with Lando and the Green Guard and have a air speeder like the Cloud Car have like a new air speeder kind of thing. So that they have options. But again, I still think Jawas are just so Star Warsy. They're almost as Star Warsy as lightsabers. I would almost say. I'm gonna say that.
That's a bold statement. I mean, they were in the original movies. They were really only in one. They were only in Episode 4, right? Did you see?
Yeah, they were. You're right.
You didn't see them anywhere else. So I mean, they have just as much screen time as far as the films as the Bespin Wingguard do. But I want to talk about the Wingguard a little bit because you mentioned the Battle Force. And I think there's a little bit. I think there's a couple of feathers in the caps of the Wingguard that are being overlooked here, because not only do you have Lando and do you have Bespin Wingguard, but you also have Lobot, right? Which you just said. But you also have Ugnaughts.
Yeah.
And you also have, you did say the Cloud
Those are just
Car.
ugly Jawas.
Ugnaughts, they're a little different. You also have named Ugnaughts from Mando season 1.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Queel, right? So he opened up Ugnaughts a little bit more. So you have a little bit of diversity and depth in doing this type of battle force. But in addition to doing that type of battle force, here is a type of battle force that has a unique perspective in that they both in the same film worked on the side of the Empire and on the side of the Rebels. And so now the Bespin Wingguard can really open up hey, you can play them good or evil. And there's two. Here's two different builds. You can include Darth Vader and stormtroopers with them, or you can include Luke, Leia, Han, and Chewie, C-3PO, and R2-D2 with them, and kind of make them a good version or a bad version, all from one box set. So it gives them a lot more diversity. That's a thought. And it's a new core option. They're clearly a core. Whereas I don't know if Jawas are a core or if they're a special forces or what they are. You know, I just don't see them as being a core. I think of core as a fighting force. You know.
Yeah, I could see them being core, especially in a battle force like that. What would be a cool option too is if you made them you couldn't really make them a special forces, especially for rebels, because that spot is so heavily competed for already.
You got to have 2 Pathfinders every battle.
Yeah, they'd have to be core. But I could definitely see them core. That'd be a cool option, especially if they went back and forth and they continued what they're doing with the battle forces for the Pike Syndicate, to where you can't give them order tokens from your commander unless you have like that upgrade card.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you could make an exception to that, to where like Lando Calrissian can give them the order token.
Exactly. Lando, you have Lobot, and in some of the books, because I went back and finished up the Empire Strikes Back from a certain point of view, and so that kind of shed a lot. Most of the stories in there were from the Bespin, the Bespin site, and so there's they have I think within the Wingard core itself, I think they have their own special forces. They have certain like marshals and like chief of securities and stuff like that. So there's a lot of named characters that you can do within the Wingard as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very expandable force that has a lot of, and it was also the first force that you started to see a lot of diversity as far as the actors and stuff that were cast to play those roles.
So I think it's British guys.
True, and I think it also represents, like, it gives you a lot more painting customization options and stuff when you're going to do a Bespin force than you do with Jawas, which all look the same. So, granted, the uniforms are all
fair.
the same too.
That's okay. I can see hobby-wise that being fair, but okay, yeah, but B1s. I'm sorry, or B1s not all just the same.
B1s have different paint schemes.
Oh,
just
they
like
do.
clones.
Damn it!
Same
yeah,
thing
you
as
guys
clones,
right. Yeah, you guys are right.
Yeah.
I saw John. You shook your head like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that though.
Yeah, because all the paint schemes for B1s varied based off of their rank. So you had like the firefighter B1s, the commanders had the orange on, or the yellow on them and everything.
Oh, that's right. That's the cool thing about Battlefront was like I think the heavy was like red.
Yeah,
that's all I remember.
So
all right, okay, good point. That was all white.
So let me ask you this though.
That'd be cool.
Between these two options too, I think the Wingard is going to be kind of restricted to Rebels and Empire. I don't really see them going in Clone Wars factions. But what do you guys think of the Jawas? As far as like which factions they could potentially go in? Like, can they be in all factions?
I think they could be in all factions because they don't give a heck. They work for the money. They work for the scavenge. I mean, yeah.
I could definitely see them being in every faction out there, or even a faction just by themselves, really.
It could. And since one of the things we learned about the mercs recently from some of the AMG spoilers is that while mercs of a certain rank, like if Jawa ended up being core, but they were a merc core, you wouldn't be able to use that to fill the minimums. So if you wanted to give them to some clones.
I did not know this.
Yes. Oh, so
yep.
You have not been watching my videos, Sean. No,
I get most of that secondhand knowledge through you anyway.
That's true. I didn't mention it the other night. We were just hanging out. But yeah, so you can't use mercs to fill your minimum. So you can't run like 6 pikes to meet to max out your core. So you can only move. So if I'm running Republic, for example, and I have to put at least 3 clones in there. If I wanted to put, I wouldn't be able to take. I would presume Jawas would be a little cheaper than clone troopers, right? They might be like a 39-point core or something like that. I wouldn't be able to just load up on Jawas and say, "Hey, mission accomplished." I could only add them as a supplemental unit, so they'd be useful for action padding. But that could also be problematic because, hey, while they can pad actions, that's sometimes a negative thing because now you end up with like 15 activation lists, and that's the new meta.
Well, and the other thing too, it could be a downside for the player if you make it to where you can't give them order tokens. It just increases the number of core troops in your bag, especially if you're fishing for a specific one for one turn.
That's true. That is very true. And that might even be a new thing. If that's meant to be the downfall, maybe they shuffle an extra core into your bag, beyond the one that they have already, so to make it even harder to do that. But then you could just give orders to everybody else and just make sure there's only core left in the bag. So I don't know.
That's hard to do. It's hard. It's better on paper than it is in practice.
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into it because I might end up stumbling onto something crazy. But all right, so I think it's time we choose. Who do we think is going to show up first? We've got the Wingguard with their pressed uniforms, and we've got the Jawas with their dirty uniforms. Who do we think?
Don't disparage the Jawas. I almost want to vote just because disparagement. Okay, so you guys have made some really good points for Wingguard, and I'm gonna, as much as I love Jawas, I think in Star Wars Legion, they might become as one of the scenario packs that we talked about before. So I think Wingguard would probably actually come out first.
Okay. Good point.
Yeah, I'd have to go with the Wingguard as well, just for balance issues. I think with Atomic Mass, they need to kind of do the easier stuff right now. So the Wingguard would be a good, solid thing to go with. Mm-hmm. And Jawas would just be a little harder to balance. And, it really needs some cool, unique rules to make them really sing on the table.
Yep.
So I got to go with Wingguard.
Okay. I'm going to do something different again. I'm going to deviate from both of you. I'm going with Jawas.
Contrarian.
No, I sided with each of you once, and now I side with none of you. No, I think the Jawas work a little bit more than the Wingguard, at least for a sooner release. The Wingguard certainly work, but I think when we get to the point where we're doing Wingguard, I feel like that's more like we're starting to run out of ideas, and I think the Jawas give more sales, especially if they can go into every faction. I think AMG's like, hey, if we release these, 100% of the player base is going to buy them, versus if we release Wingguard, only 50% of the player base is going to buy them. So I think that fact alone, plus every single Disney Plus series takes place on Tatooine, then I think that's more feathers in the cap for the Jawas. I think the Jawas have seen a few new, a couple of new times where they've shown up, and
they gave Mando a run for his money. We're not gonna lie, they gave him a run for his money.
And the egg, and how cute they were about the egg with all the cheese in it and stuff like that.
Oh God, that could be a command card.
It could absolutely be. You could even have a leader who's holding up the egg above his head, as an alternate pose. So there's a lot of little cool things that you can do, but I think they work for every faction. And I think they could also potentially go in some Merc-only factions too, especially if you eventually want to do Tuskens and all of that.
I'm gonna throw. I still vote for a Wingguard, but I just had a command card for Jawa's Bad Motivator. You give two suppression to all droids around them.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's a great idea. Absolutely great idea. So yeah, I think they work a little bit better as far as the marketability and the big picture stuff. Even though I would probably prefer Wingguard. I think Jawas are more likely. So again, you guys are watching at home. I want to hear what you guys think.
Yeah.
Our three pairings today were Qui Gon versus Sidious, aka the Senate. Then Mother Talzin versus Krrsantan, and then finally Wingguard from Bespin versus Jawas. We want to hear what you guys think is going to be first. If you haven't already, make sure you jump into our Discord. The discussion always continues in there. We're very family-friendly Discord, talk about all kinds of games like Star Wars Legion, Star Wars Armada, Star Wars X-Wing, and check all the links in the description below. I want to thank Jordan for joining us today.
Yeah, it's good to meet you, Jordan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun being here, guys. Love to come back again.
Absolutely. And if you guys want to check out Queen City Gaming, there'll be a link for that in the video description as well. Head over there, give them a subscribe, give them a like, and give them a follow. And all of those words. Actually, it's not really follow on YouTube. I should know this because this is on YouTube. But you know what I mean.
The red bell thing or whatever it's called.
Click all the buttons. Just click all the buttons. It's always a good thing.
Or guys, if you're at the Cherokee Open next weekend, make sure you come say hi. I'm going to try and stream the Legion tournament too.
Oh, fantastic. Cool.
So it's kind of going to depend on internet connectability and everything. We've never been to this venue before. It's brand new. So I'm going to try, but
the Cherokee it's a Frontline Gaming run. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I know. I've heard LJ talking about that too. Where is that going to be? Is that North Carolina?
It is. It's in Cherokee, North Carolina, up at the Harrah's Casino up there.
Okay, fantastic.
Ooh. Casinos always have good food.
I really need to get. We need Frontline Gaming, or somebody needs to do a Florida, a Southeast Open, in either Actually, they need to do it right here in Orlando because then I would be thrilled. But
look, I'm just saying, it is possible to rent out all of Star Wars land at Disney.
Rent it out.
You can book it for a private.
Oh my God!
If you
to play Legion at that little like grill shop would be amazing because those stupid like Greek grill for the Ronto burger place or the Ronto wrap place is really good.
I want to do a gaming convention at the hotel, the casino, or the hotel. The $7,000 hotel.
The one that's Galactic Star Cruiser.
Yeah.
The one that's getting like panned very badly.
It's getting what badly?
Panned very bad. Like it's in like everyone's like, oh hey, everything looks real cheap for a $7,000 hotel.
Oh. And people are canceling their reservations left and right.
Well, hopefully the price will come down. I still want to go. I don't care if it looks cheap. It's whatever. I probably will care if it looks cheap.
One of my coworkers does like commercials for Disney, like him, his wife, and his daughter, and like he's like, oh man, I missed the call for that one. I really wanted to be in it. They gave everyone like a plastic lightsaber or something.
I want to get the new lightsaber. Have you seen the new light? Like it's totally a thing, and it
I heard it's not. I heard it's not for sale.
It's not for sale. It's only for a activity on the Star Cruiser.
Oh,
so it's not for sale yet. That's
you can
the key.
Steal it.
It's
That's
not for sale yet.
I bet it's probably costing them too much to produce to be commercially viable. So once the costs come down, it'll probably be available. But I think right at the start, it's probably not.
Right now, with there's like a chip shortage, and like the prices for a lot of things are crazy high. If anybody's had to buy a car in the last year and a half or so, like it's like ridiculous. Used cars are selling for more than they were brand new in some cases. So it's ridiculous. So. Yeah, it would probably cost like $2,000 for a lightsaber like that, and they're like, "Oh, that's obscene," So let's not even put them up for sale just yet.
Man, they're missing the people still buying
them. I think I'd pass on a $2,000 lightsaber right now. Maybe when I'm retired.
You would be surprised. Disney has a Swarovski crystal castle.
Yeah.
That they have available at Epcot at one of the stores there. It's like $125,000.
Oh my goodness.
They sold so many of them, they had to increase the price because they were running low on stock.
Wow. I don't know if I should be
I know that a lot of people
that disappoints me, or
I know there's like right now the big thing, because since Sean and I live in Orlando, Orlando-ish.
I'm the land set.
we have a lot of people who are like annual pass holders and go there, so I get a lot of updates from friends. But like the big thing right now is these popcorn buckets with Figment the Dragon, and everybody's great. Like they sell out like at 15 minutes after the park opens, like every day.
It's a 6-hour wait to get those things too.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
My coworker's wife is like, apparently, like I know, I can come back to him. She does Instagram for Disney and all that, and like when she showed that stupid little bucket, like her followers went crazy, everyone went crazy, like, where did you get that? How much? And like he was so mad because like I could have gotten a second one and sold it for like $2,000.
It's insane. I got some Boba Fett, it's like things, and they're like steins, and it's like Boba Fett's head, and you click, the thing comes open, but they're plastic. So, but like I got those years ago, and I'm like, I wonder, like if those came out today, how like would it be similarly crazy? Like they used to have the AT-AT popcorn buckets, and people were using those for Legion terrain, and it's
or people are going there and buying the Star Cruiser toys because they're perfect size for Legion terrain too.
Oh, really? Ooh.
I want to go back. I need to get annual passes at some point, but it's like I almost bought annual passes to Disney when Star Wars, when it all opened up, and then COVID happened, and I was like, good thing I didn't do that. And then every time it looked like, oh, I think the pandemic's over, and then I'm like, nope. Like you have 2 weeks, you have like a week of like, I think it's over. No. And then I think it's over. And no. And I'm like, now I'm thrice bitten, like way too shy. So I'm like, I don't think I'll ever buy a pass to anything ever again. So we'll see. I did just buy Gen Con tickets though, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I can't go, unfortunately. Work won't let. Well, work will let me. I have time to take out from work.
Yeah, I would love to go, but I literally just started. I started a brand new job on Tuesday, so I don't even know my work schedule yet.
Oh boy!
To see if I can go or not.
Hey, well, congrats on that, though. So I know it's helps pay for the plastic crack fund.
Oh yes.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today. I want to thank you all for hanging out with us, and thank you, Jordan, for hanging out again. And again, Sean, thanks for being part of the Double Critical And we will talk to you guys later. Big thanks to patrons. You guys are absolutely awesome and help make this all possible. Thank you for your continued support. I will talk to you guys later. Make sure you always keep the Force with you and keep your socks on your feet.